Hi and welcome to Best in Tesla. So GM and Ford has been doing a lot of talk in the last year or two about how they will catch up with Tesla. And they have both been producing EVs for many years now. So how is their ramp going compared to Tesla? Are they actually gaining on Tesla? Well, let's take a look at the numbers and you can decide for yourself whether you think Tesla is pulling away or falling behind, because some of the numbers might surprise you. So let's check it all out and let's dive right in. So far, GM is hiding behind the sales of the little Wuling Mini EV, the little shoebox of a car, even though GM takes all the units sold and count them as their own sales. GM doesn't even make this little car. That is Wuling and SAIC. GM only owns about 40% of that joint venture, but takes all the credit. So this is just very misleading when we are talking about GM's total EV numbers. So let's look at what GM actually does. But they have claimed that they will overtake Tesla by 2025 and sell more units in the US. And in the US, it is GM that is making their own EVs. So how is it going? Are they gaining on Tesla? Well, they don't really have a lot of EV models, but they are producing the Bolt again, and the Hummer EV and the Cadillac Lyriq. And the Hummer EV, GM has been producing that for more than half a year. So it should have been ramped up to pretty high numbers now, right? Well, they reportedly should only be making about 12 units a day after more than 6 months of production. But that is of course just the Hummer EV. But what about all the other EVs? GM should be ramping up production like crazy if they truly believe they can gain on Tesla's lead. They should be growing faster than Tesla is, or they will of course never catch up. Well, let's take a look at the ramp in the US for all their EVs that GM has made. GM made 26 EVs in Q4 of 2021. Then they made about 457 EVs in Q1 of 2022 and about 1,831 units in Q2. So sure, they are growing, we can't deny that, but the combined sales of EVs through the last 3 quarters, 9 months, is 2,314 units. That is what Tesla delivers in 2 days in the US. And took GM about 270 days. So the problem for GM right now is they are actually not growing, because we have to look at last year's numbers where they delivered close to 25,000 units, so about 2,000 units a month. Not big numbers for an automaker that has been making the Bolt since 2017. In 4 years, they are only able to produce about 2,000 units a month. This clearly shows us they have not even been trying to ramp up production. But so far in 2022, when GM should be ramping up like crazy, they are so far down in 2022 in the first half of the year compared to last year, after they have been out saying they were the leader in the EV race. Pretty embarrassing. But what about Ford, that has also said they will catch up to Tesla, but have been a little more subtle about it? How much have Ford sold so far here in 2022 in the US? Well, in Q1, Ford sold a bit over 7,000 units, and in Q2, about 16,000 units. So they are growing, right? And they now have 3 EV models being produced: the Mach-E, the Ford F-150 Lightning, and the E-Transit. And for the first half of 2022, they sold a combined of 23,000 units. What about Tesla? What did they sell in the US in the first half of 2022? Well, in Q1 it was 113,882 units, and in Q2 it was 118,700 units. So far for the first half of 2022, Tesla has sold 232,582 units, so more than 10 times as much as Ford has sold. or, oh yeah, about 100 times more than GM. But Ford is growing their sales, and so is GM right now. But in the first half of 2022, Tesla grew from about 139,000 units in the first half of 21 to about 232,000 units in the first half of 2022. So Tesla grew its sales by 93,000 units in the first half of 2022. Ford and GM combined sold about 25,000 units in total. So Tesla almost grew with 4 times as many units as GM and Ford combined was able to sell. And in Q1, Tesla grew its market share in the US, which should pretty much be impossible with all the new competition that is coming. But that means that Tesla grew more than GM, Ford, Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes, Audi, and everyone else combined in Q1 of 2022. So no, GM and Ford has not gained on Tesla so far. Not even a little bit. Not even helped by every other automaker selling EVs in the US. Tesla still managed to pull away in Q1. But now we have the numbers of Q2, and oh my god, Tesla market share is down again to only 71.5% of the entire EV market. But as I just showed you, the units sold are all that matters. Market share means nothing when you're growing your business with more than 60% year over year and is selling many times more units than Ford and GM combined with just the growth you're doing. Yeah, no one is keeping up with Tesla here. And that was without any Texas factory in Q1 and very little in Q2. So what do you think will happen now in Q3 and Q4 as the Texas factory is ramping up? Because we have to remember, Ford has been producing the Mark E since the end of 2020, so soon for more than 2 years. And they managed to sell about 10,000 units here in Q2 of 2022 in the US. The Tesla Gigafactory in Texas that went online only like 3 months ago should be at that level now, or very close to it. Tesla is aiming for 10,000 units being produced per week by the end of this year. And that is what Ford is capable of after almost 2 years of production. But it does actually get a little worse because Ford Mark E's production has actually been slowing down in the last 3 months compared to last year. Yes, I know most will start screaming about chip shortage, but firstly, Tesla was able to grow with 93,000 units in the first half of 2022, but Ford's production is down. So how does that work? And again, remember, Jim Farley himself has said that chip shortage is not a problem for Ford. It is only a matter of prioritizing EVs over ICE cars because they use the same chips. So I guess Ford is just not prioritizing the EVs, but still want to sell more ICE cars on behalf of the EVs. Well, that is not going to help you catching up to Tesla now, is it? So I am willing to bet that Tesla's Texas factory that has just come online, and Tesla is kind of struggling a bit to get it running smoothly compared to Tesla's Shanghai factory, but I still think this factory on its own will produce more EVs than GM and Ford combined in the US in 2022. Even though Ford and GM both have a 5-month head start from when Texas started deliveries to customers and are starting from scratch and is only producing one model, the Model Y. And that factory will just keep on ramping up until it hits 1 million cars annually, and will of course continue after that. Remember, it is a 1 million plus factory, so eventually it will produce even more than that. But the first stop is 1 million vehicles, and GM is planning for 1 million EVs for the US market in 2025. But Tesla also has the Fremont factory that will produce at least 600,000 units on top of that 1 million from Texas, and the Fremont will ramp up to hit about 1 million as well, according to Elon Musk. So taking GM's word of 1 million EVs in the US in 2025 and not even taking Tesla's full potential with the Texas and the Fremont factory that will eventually hit 2 million and beyond. Remember, Tesla will also expand the Texas factory as well, but even just only 700,000 from each factory by 2025 will still be 1.4 million vehicles. How is it GM expects their 1 million EVs to be enough to beat Tesla? They must really suck at math. I think it is much more likely that Tesla will sell more EVs by 2025 than both GM and Ford combined in the US, than either one of them to overtaking Tesla. It is kind of a joke when you look at what Ford and GM has been able to do over the last couple of years when the talk has been high, but GM is down in EV sales. Don't even know how that is possible in this fast-growing market. So with the speed of growth or the lack thereof we see from Ford and GM, it is an absolute joke to think they will ever catch up to Tesla. And on a global scale, Tesla is growing even faster than GM and Ford is, as Tesla is ramping up in its very impressive Shanghai factory that is already over a production run rate of 1 million annually and expanding it even further with another 500,000 units. And then we have the Berlin factory in Europe ramping up as we speak as well. And if we look at someone of the other big boys, we really only have a Volkswagen really getting to good high volume numbers of EVs. Even though Kia and Hyundai is making some very good EVs, their sales numbers are still very small. Last year, the Hyundai Kia group sold about 200,000 EVs combined for the whole year globally. So that is what Tesla does in about 2 months. But Volkswagen should get something like 600 to 700,000 BEVs sold this year as a group. So they are really the only one getting to the big volume of the legacy automakers, because someone like Toyota is fast becoming the laughingstock of the EV revolution. They just came out with their first fully electric BEV here in 2022, and it does not have really good specs and cannot really charge fast in cold weather, and they have just recalled them all because the wheels might fall off. So I don't think that is going to sell very well. So even here in the middle of 2022, where the war of the EVs is in full flow, Toyota is not really even in the game yet. So when 2022 comes to an end, I think we can combine the EV sales of GM without the little Wuling mini EV, Ford, Toyota, the Hyundai Kia group, and the entire Volkswagen group, and it will not be enough to beat Tesla's numbers. I think Volkswagen will struggle to get to their 700,000, but let's just say they do that, and Ford and GM combined without the Wuling mini EV should be lucky to get to 100,000 units in 2022. And if the Hyundai Kia group is able to double their numbers here in 2022, we are looking about 400,000 units. And Toyota, well, let's just give them 25,000 units to be nice to them. That is only about 1,225,000 units sold in 2022. Tesla will no doubt beat that by quite a bit. We probably have to add BMW and Mercedes to the list before they can actually overtake Tesla here in 2022. So the old ICE makers are not catching up to Tesla, not even combined. And Tesla actually has all the deals with mining companies in place to do the growth they are talking about. And both Panasonic, LG, CATL are all going to invest in making 4680 cells for Tesla. And Tesla is already using a much cheaper and widely available iron cathode batteries, the LFP batteries, for their standard range vehicles. And Tesla has just turned on 2 new gigafactories. So Tesla is holding all the cards when it comes to growing its EV sales. They also hold all the cards called money. Tesla is still earning very good money on their EVs, where someone like Ford is not earning money on their Mach-E right now, as Ford's CFO has told us. So if Tesla at some point need a little more demand, they can just lower the price of the vehicles and increase the market exponentially that they can reach. Ford and all the others can't really do that. Tesla is dictating the price and is outgrowing everyone right now, and the ramp up of the 2 new gigafactories has just begun. How someone like GM and Ford or even Volkswagen think they have a chance to keep up with this is beyond my understanding. Maybe they have an ace up their sleeve I don't know about, of course, but I highly doubt it. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.